The hospital corridor smelled of antiseptic and newborn powder, a strange mixture that clung to the air and settled deep in the chest. Alina lay in her narrow bed, exhausted beyond words, her body still trembling from the long night of labor. Beside her, in a small transparent crib, slept her newborn son, his tiny fingers curled as if holding onto an invisible promise. She should have felt only joy, but tension pressed down on her harder than the pain ever had. The door swung open sharply, and her mother-in-law, Valentina, entered without knocking. Her heels clicked against the linoleum with authority, as though she owned the place. Valentina's face was tight, lips drawn into a thin, disapproving line. She barely glanced at the baby before fixing her gaze on Alina. "So," Valentina said coldly, folding her arms, "it's done." Alina swallowed and nodded. "Yes. He's healthy." Valentina scoffed. "Healthy? We'll see. But don't think this changes anything. My son made a mistake marrying you, and now he's made an even bigger one." Alina felt her throat tighten. "Please, this isn't the time." "Oh, it's exactly the time," Valentina snapped. "You thought having a child would secure your place. Don't be naive. You're not welcome in our family." The words cut deeper than Alina expected. She glanced at her sleeping baby, her heart aching. "This is your grandson." "That doesn't matter," Valentina replied sharply. "Blood alone doesn't make family. And I won't let you cling to my son through pity." Valentina stepped closer to the bed, lowering her voice. "When you're discharged, you won't be coming to our home. Pack your things. Go back to wherever you came from." Alina's hands shook. "I have nowhere else to go." Valentina smiled thinly. "Then you should have thought of that before trapping my son." Tears welled in Alina's eyes, but she forced herself to stay silent. She had no strength left to argue. The night had taken everything from her. Just then, the door opened again. Both women turned. A tall man stepped into the room, his presence instantly shifting the air. He was calm, composed, with a quiet intensity that demanded attention without effort. His silver-streaked hair and sharp eyes made him look both weary and formidable. Valentina froze. "Father," she whispered. It was Victor, her own father, a man she hadn't expected to see, let alone hear. "I came as soon as I heard," Victor said evenly, his gaze moving from Valentina to Alina and then to the baby. He walked closer, looking at his great-grandson with softened eyes. "He's beautiful." Valentina straightened herself. "What are you doing here?" Victor turned back to her, and the warmth vanished from his expression. "I could ask you the same question. What are you doing to this young woman?" Valentina bristled. "This is none of your business." Victor raised an eyebrow. "None of my business. I heard you shouting down the corridor. You think humiliation sounds like discipline now?" Valentina's face flushed. "She's manipulating everyone. She planned this." "That's enough," Victor said firmly. "I didn't raise you to behave like this." Alina stared in disbelief as Valentina fell silent, something she hadn't managed to achieve even once. Victor pulled up a chair beside Alina's bed. "My dear," he said gently, "do you have anyone with you?" Alina shook her head slowly. "No. My parents passed away years ago." Victor nodded, his jaw tightening. "Then you're not alone anymore." Valentina laughed bitterly. "You can't be serious." Victor stood and faced his daughter. "Very serious. And let me be clear, you're the one going to the wrong station." Valentina blinked. "What? You're pushing everyone away, convinced you're protecting your son," Victor continued calmly. "But, all you're doing is ensuring you'll be left standing alone when the train departs." The room was silent except for the faint beeping of medical equipment. "You don't decide who belongs," Victor went on. "This child does. And so does your son. Not you." Valentina opened her mouth to respond, but no words came out. For the first time, she looked unsure. Victor turned back to Alina. "When you're discharged, you'll come stay at my house. There's room, and there's peace. You and the baby need rest, not cruelty." Alina's tears finally spilled over. I don't know what to say." "Say nothing," Victor replied gently. "Just heal." Valentina clenched her fists. "You're choosing her over me." Victor met her gaze steadily. "I'm choosing decency over bitterness." At that moment, another door opened down the corridor, and Alina's husband, Sergei, rushed in, his face pale with worry. "What's going on?" The nurse said there was shouting. He took in the scene, the tears, Valentina's rigid posture, Victor's calm authority, and his eyes darkened. Mother. Valentina looked at her son, searching his face. Sergei, you have to listen. No, Sergei said quietly. You need to listen. He walked to Alina's side and took her hand carefully. I told you to give her space. She just gave birth. Valentina's voice trembled. I was only trying to help you. Sergei shook his head. No, you were trying to control us. Victor placed a hand on Sergei's shoulder. Your wife and son are your family now. Protect them. Sergei nodded, his resolve clear. We'll be leaving with grandfather. Valentina stared at them, speechless, as the weight of her actions finally settled in. As Victor gently rocked the baby and Alina closed her eyes in exhausted relief, Valentina stood frozen, realizing too late that in trying to drive someone away, she had lost her place herself. The first thing Alina noticed when she woke was the silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the strained, heavy quiet that presses against the ears. The baby slept beside her, chest rising and falling in tiny, uneven rhythms. She watched him, memorizing every detail, knowing instinctively that this fragile calm would not last long. It didn't. The door opened with sharp impatience, and Valentina entered as if summoned by Alina's thoughts. She didn't bother to lower her voice or soften her steps. Her eyes moved quickly around the room, assessing, judging, dismissing. So this is it, Valentina said. A son. Alina nodded weakly. Yes. He was born this morning. Valentina's lips curled. I expected more gratitude. After all, without my son, you wouldn't be lying here. Alina felt her chest tighten. I'm tired. Please, we can talk later. No, Valentina replied. Later never comes with people like you. She stepped closer to the crib, peering inside with cool detachment. He looks small. He's perfect, Alina whispered. Valentina ignored her. Listen carefully. Once the doctors discharge you, you're not coming back to our house. I won't allow you to poison my son's life any further. Alina's heart pounded. Sergei knows nothing about this. And he doesn't need to, Valentina snapped. He's too soft. Someone has to make decisions. Alina tried to sit up, pain shooting through her body. You can't just throw me out. I have nowhere to go. Valentina tilted her head. That's not my problem. You should have thought of that before clinging to my family. The baby stirred, sensing the tension. Alina instinctively reached for him, tears sliding down her cheeks. Please, she said quietly. Not in front of him. Valentina scoffed. He won't remember. Children forget weakness quickly. That was when the door opened again. A deep, steady voice filled the room. Some people forget humanity, even faster. Valentina stiffened. Slowly, she turned. Her father stood in the doorway, tall despite his age, his coat still dusted with snow. His eyes were sharp, observant, and utterly unimpressed. Papa, Valentina whispered. I came because a nurse recognized my name, Victor said calmly. She said there was trouble. Valentina straightened defensively. This is a family matter. Victor walked past her without asking permission and approached the crib. His expression softened as he looked at the baby. Welcome, he murmured. You came into the world loudly, didn't you? Alina watched, stunned, as his rough hand gently brushed the baby's blanket. Then Victor turned back to Valentina. What kind of woman threatens a mother hours after childbirth? He asked. Valentina bristled. She's manipulating you already. Victor's gaze hardened. Enough. The word landed like a slap. I raised you to be strong, he continued. Not cruel. Valentina's voice rose. You don't understand. She trapped Sergei. She planned this child. Victor shook his head slowly. No. You planned control. And now you're losing it. Silence fell thick and uncomfortable. Victor pulled a chair beside Alina. Child, he said gently, are you safe? Alina hesitated, then shook her head. No. Victor nodded once. Then you will be. Valentina laughed nervously. You can't be serious. Victor stood, towering over his daughter. You always said people should know their place. Well, this is yours. He paused. You're running to the wrong station if you think fear will keep your son close. Valentina opened her mouth, but no words came. At that moment, footsteps echoed in the corridor. Sergei rushed in, his face pale and drawn. What's happening? I heard shouting. His eyes landed on Alina's tears, then on his mother's rigid posture. Mother, he said quietly, what did you do? Valentina reached for him. I was protecting you. Sergei pulled back. From my own wife. From my child. Viktor stepped forward. You don't need protection. You need clarity. Sergei looked at his grandfather, then back at Alina. Is this true? Alina nodded silently. Sergei's shoulders sagged, then squared. We're leaving. Valentina gasped. You can't abandon your own mother. Sergei met her gaze steadily. I'm not abandoning you. I'm choosing my family. Viktor placed a hand on Sergei's shoulder. Wise choice. Valentina stood frozen as they spoke quietly among themselves, making plans, arranging rides, discussing the baby's needs. No one looked at her anymore. For the first time in years, Valentina felt invisible. As Viktor lifted the baby carefully and Alina closed her eyes in exhausted relief, Valentina realized the truth she had refused to see. She had mistaken control for love, and power for belonging. And now, standing alone in a hospital room, she finally understood, too late, that the train she meant to stop had already left the station.